Hello, and welcome to this, the 7th of the AIS developer videos. The subject today is how to share posts. And we will be using App 6, which is the photo sharing app on iOS. As usual, we'll start with the code documentation. I am in index.html in the root of the Git system. Here is 206 photo sharing. And here we can see a list of the classes. Most of these classes are one-to-one mapped with views. So, for example, if you go to the home table view, you're using the home table view controller, login view for logging in, my posts. Each view has a one-to-one relationship with the class that I'll show you in a minute on Xcode. The work of retrieving data and posting data to the server, we're using a WordPress server, is all done in utility.m, which is here. This is the documentation. It's not actually a class, it's simply a list of API functions where we package up the data to be sent to the server, or we retrieve the data from the server and parse it into useful structures. So here are the functions. So for example, here we are, del comment will delete a comment given the comment ID. Del post will delete a post. Fetch my likes comments. The my, it uses, when you log in, we store the user ID, and then we use that for anything where it's my reference. So fetch my likes and comments will actually fetch all of the comments attributed to me. A like is a very simple comment which simply has the word like in it. Here's upload post with and things like media ID, so the picture and the path to the picture, the title, the text. So those are the functions. Here, let's look at add comment. Add a comment with no image. Okay, that's an overview of the code. Let's look at a bit more detail now. And we're actually looking in utility.m. So utility.m stores where we are accessing things. At the moment we're using the Gifted Cloud server. We've got the blog root and the admin and password. So there's the blog root. That's where the WordPress server is located. Let's have a look at it now. Here it is. So you can see at the top of the screen here, we've gone to, I don't know if you can see that, I'll move it down. We've gone to aistesting.giftedcloud.com/WP, which is the Gifted Cloud root for the WordPress server. There it is. Now, you'll notice there are categories here. We're using the same WordPress server for the secret agent. So to eliminate all the secret agent data, we'll simply go to category AIS 206 photo share, which means we can only see the data from photo share. Now, you notice that we've used a standard, here somebody's testing emoji, very well. You notice we've used a standard server here, a blog server. The reason for that is it's always better to work to open standards because it's easier for development and testing. We can post a post with an image, and then we can actually look at it using our web browser. We don't have to use the app, so that we can find out if it's actually worked. Because if something goes wrong, such as the image is distorted or some of the text hasn't come through, we won't know whether that's because of the way we are viewing the data or the way that we're sending the data. So using open standards means that we can separate those two operations, and we can do better testing. So here we are, everything's working now, at least that we know of. There are no outstanding bugs, and we are looking at the actual stream here. These are not my posts. These are the recent posts that went to Gifted Cloud. Now, you notice that we looked at that URL. Well, the same URL is the API as well. It's a web API. In fact, two web APIs we're using. We are using the JSON API from WordPress version 2, and we are also using the XML RPC API. So the two different web APIs, both of them can be accessed through a web browser or through a program. The reason we use two of them is that some functions that we want to use, some more advanced stuff to do with comments, for instance, is only available in one of the APIs, and some of the other stuff that we want to do is only available in the other. So we have to support at the moment two APIs. Later on, as they become more mature, we may be able to switch to just one. If we did choose just one, I'd go with the JSON because it's much simpler. And now let's have a look at the JSON directly, because you can send JSON RPC requests directly with your browser. You do not need an app. Here's one now. Let's go back to the code and see how it's put together. Here we are in utility again, which is our API for posts. And you've noticed that the blog root is this. So Gifted Cloud and it's /WP. Now the root for the API, you'll notice the three APIs we were using. We're now using the XML RPC, and that's blog root, and then here PHP, and the JSON2, which is blog root, and then here. So this is the subdirectory that you that you use when you're using this web API. Let's go back and have a look. There it is, you see, WP JSON WP/v2. Now, let's go down to an actual function call. Here's one. Fetch post. We're going to call fetch. This is our API that we've written. We've called it fetch post, and we give the post ID. We give a handle to the view so that if something goes wrong, we can report error messages. And of course, if something goes right, we can then refresh the screen. And here is an array to get the post or posts. The key data here is we're using API 2, so we do get with that API thing we just saw, and then a further subdirectory of /posts and then the number of the post ID. So let's go back and do that now. Okay, there's the API posts. We can actually use this. We can do /1 post API. And there it is. You see, this data is in JSON format, and that is what the app does when that API is called. It forms this URL, and it parses out the JSON data that returns. This is how all of the interaction happens with WordPress, and this is how we do any modern web API. You form URLs where the base of the URL stays the same. You put parameters are encoded in there, sometimes with question mark and parameters, sometimes actually in the path. And then the response is in JSON, and JSON can be pulled into in this case Objective-C, and parsed very easily, you can see that it uses curly brackets and quotes in order to create sub-objects within the object, and that's very easy to parse out. And then the API here, which is in Objective-C, returns the data. So that's how we interact with the server, and that's some examples of data that's already been put in there. Now let's actually look at the app. So we will go to we've gone to our Mac, which is running Xcode. Here's the storyboard. Now you can see on the storyboard that we have one view for each of our user interface elements, and it's quite large. See, we enter at the tab controller bar. We then have several branches because they come from the bottom tab controller. You see, we've got 5 possibilities at the bottom here, and each of these are segues into them. So if we move across, we could go to adding a new post. Search navigation. Home. Home contains a list of posts. That's the search elements. Now, likes and comments. And here we have post detail, which includes how many likes, and you can go to the comments from it. And down here is the login screen, and you see that's the login screen, and here's the My Post segue to see all of my posts, and they are it's a table of cells. So that's the storyboard. As usual, that's a resource file written in XML. We use Xcode to edit it simply because it's more convenient. Now, one of the important things here, the PhotoShare app uses several other open APIs in order to function, and so it's important when you open it with Xcode to open the workspace and not just the individual project. Let's see if I can show that to you. Here's our mobile applications. Now we have PhotoShare. This is the project. Don't open that Xcode project because it will exclude all of the other libraries that we are using. Instead, open the workspace, which is here. You see, it's white with blue, and it's called dot. Oh no, maybe you can't see it. It's called .xc workspace. There it is. Okay, so open this one instead, and then you'll get all of the libraries you need. .xc workspace. While we're here, we are looking at a virtual machine, and let me just show you that. I'm going to go to the Linux server now that's running it, because we're not running it on our local machine, we're running on a server. Just so you can see how it's configured. Here it is, Sierra, running, Mac OS settings, 64 bits, the amount of memory we've got. You need to set this up correctly for it to work. The Mac is quite sensitive as to the environment. Okay, so there it is. This is a Linux server that we're looking at. So let's run it. I've just pressed the play button that we did before. I'm going to look behind me now to get the iPhone. Okay, as you can see, it's now installing it. While we're here, we can look at utility. Okay, now it should have started it. It's about to start it running. You should see it down here. Oh, sorry, you couldn't connect. Okay, let's just run it from the machine itself. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that I've got Wi-Fi on here. Yep. Okay, and let's run it. Now, we've come to the home screen. Let's just have a look at some of the screens. Search. Here's to take a photo. There's likes, nothing at the moment. And here's my, this is my login screen. Let's look at my posts. Okay, we haven't done anything on this server yet. So let's post something. So I'm going to go to the camera. I'm going to take a new photo. Let's take a photo of the microphone. Yep, use photo. Oh, sorry. Try that again. Use photo. Sorry. Let's go from the gallery. Here's my coffee cup. And let's stick some emoji in there. Okay, and post it. You can see upload successful. Now let's have a look at we go back to normal posts and here it is. So we just posted that. Now let's have a look at the server. And refresh. And there it is. And here's our emoji. Let's go to comments. Okay, we don't have comments at the moment, but let's like it. There we are, one like. And comments, let's add a comment. Good. submit. Okay. There we are. That's an overview of how to post from an app. We've created our own API and we've used the standard web interface. We use JSON2 and XML over RPC, as you've seen. And here is an example of it working. And we've seen how it looks if you simply use your web browser to do the same operations. We've also looked at Xcode running on Mac on VirtualBox. And I think that's it. So, thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.